And welcome back to another episode of Transfer Talk. And if you can't tell by the new intro music, this means it's season 2. Today I'm sitting down with the best co-host and student success coach UH has ever seen, Anuhea, as well as Cody. Cody is an accounting major, and she just finished her first semester as a distance education student at UHWO. So today we want to touch base and talk story about Cody's first semester. But before we dive in, how's everybody doing today?
I'm good.
Doing great today. Happy to be here.
Awesome. And I'm very happy to be here as well. So I guess the first question we have for you, Cody, is how did your first semester go?
My first semester was pretty good. It was all distance on Kaiwi. It was a little difficult because it wasn't on Zoom classes. It was all
Async.
async. So that was the difficult part of it, I would say.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm adjusting to having to show up on a Zoom and have someone to talk to. As for now, you're just leading yourself through all the modules of learning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know the accounting major at UHWO is 95% async online, which people really love because of the flexibility, but it also can be a difficult transition for people.
Yeah.
So, but it's gotten better for you? You figured it out?
Yeah, I actually do have a synchronous class.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
this semester, which is great.
Nice.
Now, did you know, going in, that accounting was going to be mostly async, or was this something you found out once you got there?
I kind of figured because the classes here at KCC, those were mostly asynchronous as well.
Okay, so if we can kind of step back a bit to the summer, the few weeks leading right up to your first semester, what was your mindset going in? Can you share what you were thinking? Were you excited or nervous? What were your expectations of UHWO? And I know you just touched on that a little bit, but if we can expand on that.
I was actually pretty excited because I went to go visit the campus with Anuhea. I don't know, was it a month before or a couple months?
Yeah, it might have been at the end of the spring semester, maybe April.
Yeah, so that was fun, and I got to see the campus, got to see hear about certain classes, which got me a little bit more excited.
I'm glad that you enjoyed that trip, that it was beneficial to you choosing UHWO as well as enjoying your experience thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think those trips are really beneficial for students both who are thinking about going over and students who are there actively taking classes, because in Cody's case, when you're taking all async classes, you need something to make those connections with your professors and your peers, and I think those trips really help with that. So, yeah.
Good to hear. Love it. So also, what expectations did you have? Did you think that, oh my God, I'm going to university, it's going to be so hard? Or did you think, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this challenge. What did you go into UHWO thinking?
I guess both, right? It's a bigger step compared to community college, for sure. The classes are more difficult and all that, but I was still a little bit more excited to just get through this and actually attend.
Awesome. That's a great attitude to have.
Yeah, and I think having that, I'm challenging myself, that this is going to be a journey, and we're really...
Yeah, I'm stepping up.
Yeah, you're stepping up.
I'm really leveling up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really great attitude. I love that. Nice. Did any challenges pop up during your first semester? If so, how did you overcome them?
The biggest challenge is just procrastination has got to be one, because it's kind of hard to keep accountable of yourself if you're doing it all async and you're like, I can do it at the end of the week and all that. That's the most difficult thing to overcome.
You are your own instructor, giving yourself the instructor gives you a due date, but then you have so much time to wiggle and you're like, oh, I have time. No, I also procrastinate in my regular job. So it's just a lifelong learning process to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely a different level of discipline that you have to have, especially in async classes. But I think after, midterms of that first semester there, you kind of get a feel for it, right? You find your flow. Right?
Yeah, the rhythm of okay, I'm going to do this assignment on this day, I'm going to do this assignment on that day, and kind of set yourself up in that sort of organization.
Yeah, for sure.
It kind of helped that they provided these planners. When we went to go visit, they gave out the planners.
Yeah.
So that's been helping, just noting down what I have to do and everything. Right?
Yeah, so paper planner, right?
Yeah.
I use both. I have a paper and an online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great tip. I love
Yeah.
that.
We have a bunch of them, I believe, that we can get. If anyone's interested in planners, UHWO Oahu has undated ones to give out.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. So did you make any contacts, like meaningful relationship building with any faculty members or your peers? I know it's a little bit harder with async, but did you make any connections?
Honestly, it's Anuhea.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I see her all the time now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cody got forced to be in my class. That's
Yeah.
why. So she has to see me once a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good though, but I'm glad. Has it helped you to have like a in-person contact since you just shared that most of them are async? Do you
Yeah.
think by having me just like in real life?
It makes me feel more like a student.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad. This is like the class I'm teaching is my first time, 6 weeks, and it's very experimental, but hearing that feedback really is encouraging. So maybe I'll continue that forward.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Very cool. Yeah, I wish I could take that class too.
Too
That'd
bad
be
you
really-
graduated.
I know. What else do we have for you today, Cody? What do you think made the biggest difference in terms of your first semester success? Was it keeping that planner? Was it having the contact with Anuhea? Was there anything in particular that you're like, wow, that really helped me?
I think it's the planner, really. It just made me feel more like I had to be more accountable. Yeah, that, and then my sister was bugging me all the time.
Good.
Yeah.
Accountability buddy and accountable to yourself in the planner.
Yeah.
Like those two things,
Mm-hmm.
which I think we all could use.
Yeah.
Those
Mhm.
things.
For sure.
Yeah. So also that since you just finished your first semester, imagine someone like you going into their first semester. Would you give them any sort of advice or words of wisdom, or even for people that are just thinking about transferring?
Just to let them know that they're not alone, that there's a lot of resources that can help you.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. All
Oh,
right.
thanks for your time. That was great. Yeah. And good luck on your second semester that you're in right now.
Yeah, it feels a lot better too.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You found the rhythm, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And do you plan on taking summer school courses?
I don't think so. Not this
Give
time
yourself
around. Maybe next
brain
year
break
if
if
maybe
needed.
Yeah, if I need to, but no.
Yeah, I think as an accounting major, I heard Katie Landgraf does some sort of like summer CPA program.
Yeah, she was
So
talking
that would
about
be
that.
highly recommended if that is something that you would like to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, Cody.
Yeah, thank you, Cody.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Aloha mai kako. Mahalo for checking out today's segment of Transfer Talk. We're sitting down and checking in with Kaiwi. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Happy to have you here. So, to give the listeners a bit of background, right? I first met Kaiwi when Anuhea took a bunch of us students over to tour UHWO Oahu's campus for the day. And since then, I'd like to think that I've gotten to know you pretty well, right? And I got to say, you're just a really cool dude. I genuinely think you make everyone's day better. So thank you for coming on the podcast. And I'm sure you have some really great insight for the listeners because, hey, you're in your first semester as a transfer student, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Cool. So can you tell us what your major is and what drew you to that specific field or discipline?
Yeah. My current major is political science. And what drew me there was my family connections, really. A lot of my family was politically active. And growing up here, you hear a lot about people saying what they need to say in a lot of situations. And I think that's what really drew me to political science, getting to learn the ins and outs of how to talk to people, how to navigate the political sphere and things like that.
Yeah, that's great. Seeing behind the curtain, figuring out all those different dynamics, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Very cool. So to step back just a little bit further, can you tell us what your journey was like to UHWO Oahu? Did you start here at KCC? What was your journey like?
Yeah, originally I started out with 1 year at UH Manoa, and the city was kind of getting to me, and UH Manoa being at a big college didn't really feel that right for me personally.
Gotcha.
And after that, I started attending Honolulu Community College. This was still when I lived on Oahu. And over there, through a lot of the programs that I was able to do, I really got connected with my culture through the Hawaiian club over there and the Hawaiian center that I was working for. And through that, I got a lot of opportunities to travel around the islands, do a lot of science research and things like that. Unfortunately, around my last semester, COVID hit. That was when everything kind of shut down, and I wasn't able to graduate on time, and things were so unsure that I ended up moving back to Kauai. I spent a lot of time working, but I did attend Kaiwi Community College for 1 semester. And that semester, I managed to get a job at the Kikuchi Center archive over here. Through that, I stopped after 1 semester, unfortunately, and my boss, he convinced me to actually go back to school and continue my journey. And we kind of thought about it and figured it out that instead of finishing at KCC, it's probably going to be more beneficial that I put in just a little bit more extra work and graduate from UHWO. So that's kind of how we ended up here.
Okay, very cool. So I just want to highlight one thing real quick. So you've transferred a number of times, not just to UHWO. So
Yes.
you're like a transferring expert, man. Like you got this down. That's cool. So do you have any advice that you could lend to students who may be in a similar situation because you've transferred to
Yeah.
various campuses within the UH system?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a process. You do want to make sure you talk to your counselors. That's the big one because the counselors are going to make it really easy to make that transition possible. They're going to help you figure out which classes transfer, which ones you don't have to take again, things like that. Really working it out with them, that was probably my biggest help just through the process. So I knew that I had someone to rely on if I had any questions, if I needed to know anything about a class, things like that. I really appreciated their help. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. I definitely agree. Like the advisors and counselors are amazing. So
Mhm.
definitely utilize those resources because they're there to help you through this process, right? For sure. You mentioned the Kikuchi Center. So can you tell us a little bit more about that work? Because I find it very fascinating and I think the listeners will as well.
Yeah, of course. Here at Kaiwi Community College, we have the Kikuchi Center Archive, which is an archaeology archive. It was dedicated to Dr. Pila Kikuchi. So he used to be a teacher here. He taught anthropology for around 20 years.
Nice. Wow.
And unfortunately, when he passed away, a lot of his materials kind of sat around for a really long time. It was passed between their offices and Kaiwi Community College and the Kaiwi Museum and things like that. And eventually, my boss in 2022, that was when he started. So he just started curating everything. The room we had it when we got it was just boxes on the floor and papers and documents everywhere. And so over the past couple years, we've been able to really clean everything up, catalog everything, and it's open to the public for anyone that wants to do research. We have a website. It's omeka.kikuchi.net if anyone wants to check it out, OMEKA. Yeah, we have some things digitized, some documents, artifacts, things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, as a history major, I definitely understand and appreciate the value of having archives like that, and to have something like that on campus is really amazing. And I've come and visited you guys a few times, and
Mhm.
every time I come down there, you guys are super helpful, super nice, and I just really highly recommend all the listeners go check it out. It's a really amazing resource that we have available to us. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. All right, so to transition over just a little bit, we're getting close to midterms, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's an appropriate time to pose the question, how is your first semester going?
Right now, my first semester, I'm doing all my classes online. So it's a little bit overwhelming. I think that growing up in the whole school system, there was no online basically before the last few years. So it is kind of a tough transition to keep on schedule yourself. But I think setting up a calendar, working with the academic advisors, like I said, really helps. And it was initially a challenge to read all my syllabi and things like that and not feel that overwhelmed. But over time, by planning everything out when things are due, that really helped me get a grasp on the semester.
Yeah, I think that's a really good approach to just not get overwhelmed by it. I know that's like easier said than done, but when you break it down into week by week, day by day,
Mhm.
that can be super beneficial, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have any other tips or tricks that helped you overcome that kind of initial shock, if you will?
I definitely think, yeah, making a calendar is the biggest one for me.
Okay.
Creating something that I can look at with all the due dates so I don't have to keep continuously referencing my syllabus or going on La Lima over and over again. Really setting up the calendar helped. And talking to my teachers, actually, emailing my teachers, getting them to on the same schedule as me if I have something to do or if I need an extension. They're really, really helpful with things like that. Communication with my teachers and setting up my schedule was the biggest things.
Yeah, I think both of those things are super important. I think it's really good that you adapted and started utilizing those skills early on, right?
Mhm.
Because it took me definitely a semester or two to really firmly start doing those things. So I think you're way ahead of the curve and you're doing great, man.
Thank you.
So have you made any like meaningful contacts with some of your professors? Have you started building that pilina with them?
Yes, actually. So with my anthropology class, he describes it as history of Hawaii before 1400 around, so like the ancient history. But that class is with Dr. Ross Cordy, and he actually was a state archaeologist for a while, and we have a lot of his documents in our archive. And so I've seen his name pop up a few times, and it was just really interesting. And I mentioned that to him in an email that I really enjoy his class and that I work in this archive. He might have also known my uncle who worked in archaeology, and he had mentioned that he did. And so that was like a very interesting experience to read a bunch of these notes and reports by this guy and then finally meet him.
Yeah. Small world, right? Like
Mhm.
it's pretty crazy. That's really cool.
Mhm.
Nice. Have you made any contacts with any of your like fellow peers? Like, do you know anybody else on Kauai that you keep in regular contact with?
Through Anuhea's class that we actually just did, she is our UHWO Oahu counselor, and she set up a class specifically for our Kauai students to plan out our academic journey and talk to each other on the discussion board. So yeah, I've gotten to know a few of them that were some of the other transfer students to UHWO from Kauai, and so that was really helpful.
Nice. That's great. What do you think the main takeaway was from that class, if you don't mind me asking?
That class was definitely trying to set us up for success in the future. It was a lot of questions to get us to critically think about our academic journey and where we want to go. And I think that's really helpful too, because a lot of students that are just coming into college, they don't know. A lot of students do their liberal arts or go into a major that they don't really want to do, but they're not sure what else they can do. And so really sitting down to think about what plans that you want for the future and things you want to do was really helpful.
Yeah. I think putting that time in, putting that thought in pays dividends in the future. So it's really, again, it's really cool that you're starting that early.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's great. I guess one of the core questions, and we touched on this a few times, but just to reiterate a bit, what do you think, like if you had to pick one or two things, is making the absolute biggest difference in terms of your success so far at West Oahu?
So far, it's definitely been keeping on schedule, because with our online classes, things are due almost every day, and for all my different classes. And so making sure that I'm turning in the right thing for the right class is the most important. I did actually, at the beginning of this semester, email the wrong teacher, because I have two very similar classes, and she was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I emailed the wrong person. So keeping on track with everything really helped, making sure that she sent the right email to the right teacher.
Yes.
And just trying to, keep on schedule is the biggest thing, especially Friday when a lot of things are due, Friday or Saturday. That's the biggest one.
Gotcha. Okay, so like time management, organization is really important, right?
Yeah, missing a lot of those assignments, even the small ones, will add up over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll say in terms of like the email thing, that stuff happens. Like it's no big deal. Like as long as you own it and address it, it's all good. Like they understand it happens. And yeah, man, it sounds like you're doing really great. So I'm really happy for you. And I guess the last question we have for you, man, is do you have any other final tips or tricks for students who may be thinking about political science or more generally just transferring?
For political science, I would say don't overload yourself too much with these classes. There are a lot of requirements, but some of the classes are pretty intensive. And so I tried to recommend taking it a little bit slower, I guess, making sure you don't overwhelm yourself. And to address it in general, for a lot of students, I think the same kind of thing where it can be very overwhelming, but making sure you use your resources properly is going to ease a lot of that anxiety. Talking to your teachers, talking to your counselors, making a calendar that you can plan everything out on. It's really helpful just to make sure that you don't miss anything, you're not worried, you know when things are due. And so being able to plan everything out really does help in the future.
Yeah, I 100% agree. This is great advice, Kaiwi, and I really thank you for coming on the podcast. I think the listeners are going to get a lot out of this. So, yeah, man, seriously, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, no problem. This was great.
Mahalo for listening to Transfer Talk. The views and opinions shared by the hosts and any guests are solely theirs and do not reflect the views and opinions of UH West Oahu or Kauai Community College as an institution. If you enjoyed listening to this episode of the podcast, please like, share, comment, and check out all the other episodes. Aloha.